Peace, 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 family. My name is Michael Jordan, and I am the Sirius Alchemist. In today's video, we're going to be discussing another book review. And the book review under discussion today is Cinderella's Gold Slipper by Samuel Dennis Foer. That's Samuel Dennis Foer, F-O-H-R. Samuel Dennis Foer. Cinderella's Gold Slipper. Some of y'all might say, Mike, what you talking about? Cinderella's Gold Slipper. So this book is about spiritual symbolism and fairy tales. See, you thought fairy tales are just children's stories, but it's not. There's spiritual symbolism hidden within these stories. So that's why I'm focusing on this book today, Cinderella's Gold Slipper. Spiritual symbolism in the Grimm's tales, right? So Cinderella, first of all, let's break that down. Cinder is the first 5 letters in Cinderella. Cinder is from the ashes of a fireplace, which is soot. Cinder, which is soot, which is black. And then we have L, which is God. And then we have love, which means feminine. So we got the black God, feminine, the feminine black God. Cinderella is the feminine black God. Cinderella. So remember, cinder is from the ash in the fireplace, which is soot, right? And then we got L, which is God, and then love, which is feminine, which translates to feminine, right? So family, a lot of these stories that these fairy tales, they're so-called fairy tales, are filled with spiritual symbolism. If you start reading these stories and start looking at them in an allegory sense or esoteric sense, you'll begin to understand the hidden meanings in them. So as I always do, family, I'm going to read something from the back of the book, right? I'm going to read something from the back of the book first. Then I'm going to read a little bit about the author. Okay. Now it says spiritual symbolism in the Grimm tales. You may think of the Grimm tales as fairy tales, which you heard as a child. But Samuel Foer says that Grimm tales are filled with spiritual symbolism and as such have value for adults as well as children. Snow White, for example, is actually a story of creation and spiritual growth. And his message parallels Hindu and Judaic creation myths. Hansel and Gretel and Cinderella both portray journeying back to God. The author also looks at recurring themes in the stories and answers such questions as, why are giants always evil and dwarves always good? What is the symbolic significance of the hungry wolf who appears in many stories? Exactly what are genies and why are they always trapped in bottles? A delightful but serious examination of cherished stories. This book reveals new meaning in familiar tales. Samuel Foer, PhD, is a professor of philosophy at the University of Pittsburgh at Bradford. He received his PhD in philosophy, right, from the University of Michigan and has taught courses in both Western and Eastern philosophy. He is the author of Adam and Eve, the spiritual symbolism of Genesis and Exodus. Yo, family, this is a serious book right here. I first got this book about maybe 6, 7 years ago. And as you can see, I've been all in it because whenever you see these tabs in the books I got, I've been all in this book. And man, I started to realize all the gold that was in these fairy tales. Family, that's why we got to read and we got to understand symbology. We got to understand allegory. You know what I'm saying? And we got to start getting these books so we can start breaking down these fairy tales. So when you read these fairy tales to your children, right? You can read these fairy tales to your children and then break down the hidden meaning to them so they can really get an understanding of what the story's about. All right, so I'm going to read something in here real quick, family. As I always do, I always try to read a little piece out the book. Maybe it'll, strike something in somebody to want to go out and study this or get it because it's worth getting and it's worth studying, trust me. Because me studying this stuff helped me to change my life and understand these stories were more than just stories. And also there's a movie out, family, called The Never Ending Story. It's about this little boy who's reading a book. And he's reading a book about all these fantastic heroes and all these great things they did, but he's not understanding that the story he's reading about is himself. He's all the heroes and gods he's reading about in these stories, family. So it's called The Never Ending Story. You thought it was a child's movie, but it's not. If you're an adult, check it out. It's called The Never Ending Story with this little boy. He's reading this book about all these heroes, right? And come to find out at the end of the movie, he is all the heroes that he's reading about. It's the same thing with us, family, here on planet Earth. We read all these fantastic stories, but we never realize that we came here with a soul mission. We came here with a mission. We came here with work to do. We didn't came here just to get cars and houses and all that little bullshit. That's bologna sandwiches. All that shit is bologna sandwiches compared to what's in these books. But anyway, family, let me read some of this to you. And it says, please note that if at the beginning of this statement, as I showed in chapter 1, there is no reason to view these stories as children tales or to hold that they are written from a child's point of view. Once we have disabused ourselves of such notions, we find there is no reason to accept Dundee's analysis. The mother in this story, like the mother in Snow White, turns against her children, which as usual signifies the way of the world with us. But there is still another symbolic aspect to the beginning of the story. Being left in the forest by one's parents is just one more symbol of being born into this world, right? So when you look at these fairy tales and you see like Hansel and Gretel, for instance, going through this forest, that's just symbolic of the world, because this world we going to is hell, family. Like Hansel and Gretel went through the world without their parents. They was out in the forest without their parents, by themselves, just little kids. But this is how the world is. We come into this world not understanding. It's like a big ass forest full of trees and shit. We don't understand what the hell is going on because we're children as children, right? But as we grow older, we begin to learn, or some of us do anyway, right? So I'm gonna read a little bit more. Being left in the forest by one's parents is just one more symbol of being born into this world. The brothers keep looking toward his real home and dropping stones to guide his way back to it. This signifies the unwillingness of the spirit to leave God and take on the soul and body. But according to God's will, this must be, and the spirit must lose its way in the world. You know what I'm saying? When we come in this world, we don't know what's going on. This shit's too big for us. You know, the school, the police department, we looking at all this shit like, damn, we got to follow this. You know, we got to follow these rules. This is how it's supposed to be, but family, this is not how it's supposed to be. When you start reading these stories and you start getting the symbolic meaning in these stories, then the real starts to come out. And you start to understand there's something inside of you that's real. That's real. That always existed, always been here, and it's going to always be here. It can never perish. It's eternal. And that's what these stories do. They help you grasp eternal ideas and eternal thoughts. Thoughts become real, family. But anyway, let me read on. Okay. Let's see. The easy route back is obscured, for it is according to God's will that the route be discovered anew. So the spirit takes on a soul and a body, and the complete and balanced person is born, androgynous, with both male and female characteristics. However, there to greet the newborn person is the gingerbread candy cane house we call the world. Like the children in the story, we cannot wait to start nibbling. As a result, we fall into incompleteness, right? A fall symbolized in the story by separation of brother and sister, a separation comparable to the division of the original Adam into Adam and Eve, described in chapter 2 of Genesis, right? Who is the maker and owner of this house? None other than our old friend Prakriti. And Prakriti is an Indian term for the passive pole of existence, right? Which are symbols, right? So when you start to read this stuff, you start to understand that a lot of these stories are trying to teach us something. They're trying to teach us eternal truths. They're trying to teach us that we have more power than we ever been taught. There's nothing in this world that we can't have or can't achieve. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. When you get to studying this stuff, that's what you get to understand. That's what these stories are trying to tell you, the power within you and how to control yourself, right? And, you know what I'm saying? How to gain wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is very, very important in this day, family, in this day and time. So I want to read another little piece out of here that I underlined. And it says, J.C. Cooper, let me see, wait a minute. The only contemporary to write a whole work on folktales from the spiritual perspective is J.C. Cooper. But while there's much that is praiseworthy in her book, Fairy Tales, Allegories of Inner Life, there are problems as well. She is certainly correct in characterizing many of the tales as portraying the loss and regaining of paradise, right? So, family, we really got paradise within. But with these eyes, we get caught up looking on the outside, this outside stimuli. We get caught up chasing this and chasing that. But I'm telling you, family, you will never find outside of yourself unless you find it within first. Whatever you're looking for, you'll never find it outside yourself unless you find it within. This fiat money that's running around out here, it ain't really worth nothing. Yeah, you know, you get it to pay your bills and whoop-de-woo and, you know, buy your little car to get around or whatever, but that's all it's really about. I mean, to think you better than somebody because you got a large amount of money, that's not cool. So when you start to read and study, you get to start to understand, you start to have different values. You know what I'm saying? You start to value what's on the inside instead of what's on the outside, because whatever you got in here is going to manifest on the outside, family. It's going to manifest on the outside. So let me find this little piece in here. Let me read, because it's a nice piece that really helped me out. And hopefully it can help somebody else out there that watches the video. And family, if you like, please like, subscribe, share the video. You know what I'm saying? If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe and share. It helps me get in the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got this algorithm set up. So I'm trying, you know, I'm breaking into the algorithm. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate that. And so let me find this little passage in here. Then I got another book for y'all, family. Here it is right here. Okay. I knew I was gonna find it. But anyway. Okay, no, that was it. That's not it. That's not it. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second, family. Find this little piece right here. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Here we go. In order to achieve spiritual advancement, one must die and be reborn. It is significant that the coachman's sister looks just like the king's former wife. It is as if the two women are one and the same, as if God had lost his spirit through his birth into the world and wished to reclaim it. Versions of the white and black bride are found in many countries. In Russia, there is the white duck, while two such tales for Mati Rani, or the flower lady, and the Belle Princess appear in Maeve Stokes' collection, Indian Fairy Tales. In these three stories, it is the witch or mother herself who tries to take the rightful bride's place. In all versions of the story, the witch or mother succeeds in pushing or enticing the heroine into a body of water, a symbol of the passive pole of creation, which is ever pulling us down, right? This action suggests an alternate interpretation of the witch, a possibility that is enhanced by the dark color she has in many of these tales, right? So you notice in many of these tales, they got the witches are dark, trying to say dark is evil and all that, but that's not really what it's saying, family. That's why if you read and study, that's a symbol of the passive pole of creation. It pulls us down, right? And the active pole of creation lifts us up, right? So these are symbols in these movies or in these tales. These are symbols telling us higher truths to lead us out of the muck and the mire of the body. You know what I'm saying? Out of the so-called sin or so-called vials of the flesh. You feel me? So these fairy tales are very important. And I'm gonna read on. It says, the active pole of existence is often characterized as white and the passive pole as black. Thus, the witch is connected with the passive pole, right? And true bride with the active pole. The witch may indeed symbolize the world, the production of the passive pole, which puts us under its spell and drags us down. It is up to our spirits to keep us afloat spiritually. Some of these comments anticipate what I say about the symbolism of Cinderella and brother and sister in chapters 10 and 11. So family, if you get this book, you can understand this on a deeper level, because this video may not be enough, you know, for you to understand what I'm trying to portray in this video. But get the book, family. Cinderella, the Gold Slipper, Spiritual Symbolism in the Grimm's Tales, Samuel Dennis Foer, FOHR. Very good book, family. Very, very good book to have. You know what I'm saying? And it might be hard to find, but if you can find it, it's worth putting it in your library. And the next book I'm going into, family, is off the subject a little bit, but it's called The Science of Superman. The Science of Superman. The Official Guide to the Science of the Last Son of Krypton by Mark Wolverton. And Roger Stern was the editor, right? So you might say, Mike, why would you show us the book Superman? Okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. Superheroes, first of all, the word hero comes from the word Haru. Haru, this is the eye of Haru, what you see behind me, right? That's where all superheroes come from, is Haru. Haru was the world's first superhero. There was no superheroes until Haru was on the scene in ancient Kemet, right? Now we got Superman, who is a super Haru. He's a super Haru, superhero. So all your heroes, Spider-Man, Batman, family, where they come from? Kemet. All these ideas come from Kemet, right? And the science of Superman, think about the story, right? Superman, where he went into a cave, got some crystals, you know what I'm saying, talked to his ancestors, right, in a cave, right, became Superman. You feel me? So that's why we got to understand these stories, family, because these stories are telling a lot about us and who we are as a people. You're more powerful than you think, family. So this book right here, The Science of Superman, the official guide to the science of the last son of Krypton. And who's the last son of Krypton? Think about it, family. You are. You're the last son of Krypton, sons and daughters of Krypton. So for the first time anywhere, the science of Superman revealed, right? Discover the man of steel's powers and how they work. Telescopic vision, X-ray vision, heat vision, super strength, invulnerability, flight, super hearing, super speed. Now you might say, Mike, come on, man. Come on, man. We wasn't doing that kind of shit. Come on. Yes, we were. We brought this idea into the world of superheroes, period. Don't believe me? Check it out for yourself. You feel me? Get the book. And like, again, the author is, again, Mark Wolverton. This book's another hard to find. You ain't going to find stuff like this, family, because they don't want this getting out. But if it's up to me, I'm going to put it out there. You feel me? So, and I want to read a little something in here, and, maybe it'll spark something in somebody to go get the book. But the science is more serious than what you think. You think it's just some, they just putting these stories in the silver screen for no reason. No, they're not, family. They telling you your story. You know what I'm saying? But are you going to grab it and dig into it? But anyway, I'm going to start right here. Yeah, let's see. Okay. How best to keep out that unwanted energy? Simple. A barrier to shield and deflect it away. Human skin tries to protect itself from radiation by darkening, as in a skin tan, and from repeated prolonged physical stress by growing thicker, as the calluses on the fingertips of a guitarist, the hands of a manual worker, or the soles of anyone who spends a lot of time barefoot will attest. This works fine for us since we don't use our skin as a primary means of collecting energy. Organisms whose skin provided a vital source of food, such as Kryptonians, couldn't survive if that skin became too much of a barrier. If some glasses are too dark, you're essentially blinded. If they're just dark enough, you can still see perfectly well without being dazzled by brilliant sunlight. In the same vein, some sort of biological compromise will be necessary for a Kryptonian skin. Now, listen to me, family. He or she who has an ear, let them hear. Listen to what it's saying. It might darken somewhat under Earth's sun, akin to a permanent tan, but the mechanism to do so would already have to be present, such as human skin's ability to produce melanin. With beings who evolved to absorb and use light energy, this seems to be a fairly counterproductive evolutionary tactic. A more likely and efficient response would be for the skin merely to become thicker, denser, and stronger, while still retaining its transparency to the energies necessary to maintain life. This might involve the absorption and retention of heavy elements, iron, silicone, or even titanium, for example, and storing them in the cell walls, making them physically more resistant. The process would be limited to the epidermis, the skin layers at greatest risk of exterior damage. In effect, Superman's skin would develop a body-wide layer of callus, and if just dense enough, this could also serve as physical shield against other dangers like pesky bullets, knives, and explosions. Even this, however, wouldn't be foolproof. Superman might be able to withstand pretty much the worst that crooks and other evildoers could throw at him, but there would be limits. He might be able to resist a force under some circumstances, but not in others. If someone merely throws a bullet at you by hand, it'll bounce off you just as if you were Superman. But if someone puts that bullet in a gun and fires it at you at a speed of many feet per second, you better make sure you get out of the way. By the same token, Superman might shrug off that explosive force of a 200-pound conventional bomb tossed at him, but a 20 megatron nuclear blast might ruin his whole day. Right? So once in a while, at least Superman's going to get hurt. What happens then? To use military analogy once more, if the enemy breaches the outer defenses of your fortress, then you need to take action both to drive them back and to limit the damage they can cause. This brings us to the second aspect of invulnerability, the ability to rapidly repair and heal the damage done. Right? So what that's saying is that if you got melanin in your skin, you basically have the ability to repair your skin and repair the cells in your body. You have the ability to do that. But first of all, to be able to do that, you have to believe you can do it. If you got this doubt in mind, like Doubting Thomas, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's impossible. You ain't gonna never do it. How you gonna hit the ball if you keep thinking about all the ways you can miss it? You ain't gonna never hit it. So family, this book, The Science of Superman, get this in your library. This is the back of it. Look, it got the circle and the square again. Why do you think they got him standing like that with the circle and square? They got the same picture like that with man. There's a book I showed you in another video of mine. Man, the grand symbol of the universe. Same shit. That's you, family. You Superman. That's you. You Superman. You got to change your mind to think and know that you Superman. That's why this work is important. Get these books. Wrap your mind around these ideas. Because you are God here on earth, right? So again, Superman, The Science of Superman by Mark Wolverton, editor Roger Stern, right? So again, family, we got to start getting this work. Don't believe what I'm telling you on the video. Get the work, check it out for yourself. You'll find out that everything I'm telling you is true, right? So again, my name is Michael Jordan. I am the Sirius Alchemist. If you would like a reading from me, hit me up in my email. I'm gonna leave my email in the description box below. If you like to get any of my herbs, we'll try in my herb packs. Got problems sleeping or anything like that, or you want to, have some vivid dreams, hit me up. I'm gonna leave that in the description box as well. And also, my brother Tommy, Melanated Roots, doing great work over there. Go check his channel out. You know what I'm saying? It's enough out here for everybody. So again, my name's Michael Jordan. I'm the Sirius Alchemist. See you in the next video. Peace.